in three.
Going for the St. Louis now.
Oh no!
Son of a bitch.
You get your two?
Yeah. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course, and today we are in the Hipper and we are on Neighbors. Yes. Now, I don't know if any of you had a chance to look at the public test server that is currently up, but it does look pretty interesting, especially the new map mode that they have going on, the Bastion map mode. That looks like something that is going to be really interesting, and I can't wait to actually see it in the live game. Going to be fairly spectacular, I think. I'm trying to use other words other than fantastic, because apparently I say that a lot. But anyway, on Neighbors. Now this is a shorter clip than normal. It is a long weekend as well. It's Canada Day today, so happy Canada Day to anyone, any of my Canadian subscribers. So I've got a bit of things planned for today and tomorrow, so that is why this is going to be a quicker video than normal. I'm going to get this out and then sort of start the afternoon/evening, which I can't wait for. But anyway, on Neighbors. Now, one thing about this map that I do like and that I find pretty cool is sometimes on this map, usually when there's more battleships, because I think there's only actually one battleship on each side in this battle, but more battleships, they spawn right at the back of the map there, and it almost looks like, you know, they're at port or they're in dock, and then take off from there. So I find that pretty cool. Usually get to see it here on this map when there are a number of different battleships. You can kind of see, I think there's one battleship back there that kind of started in that position. But anyway, always interesting to see. Now obviously my plan in this battle here, based on where the team had spawned, I did want to go towards the north. I just didn't think that a whole lot of my teammates would actually go you know, on the west side and up into the enemy base like that, in that direction. So I figured, yeah, it would probably go to the north here. And plus, I mean, if we do take a look at the enemy ships on the other side, right, there's one battleship, a number of cruisers, and some destroyers. So this is probably a pretty good place to go. Not only will I be able to fire in on any enemy ships that I see off in the distance, but I should be able to easily turn around and come defend the base if need be, right? Because again, a lot of destroyers on the enemy team, so it's totally possible that some of those destroyers could slip by and get into our base. Now we do have two aircraft carriers on either side as well, so I do need to keep in mind the aircraft carriers there. I do see the enemy destroyer, and I was considering firing some shots off at him, but yeah, I've got armor piercing loaded, and I wasn't spotted at the time. Now, because I bought the Hindenburg, I did actually end up you know, switching over commanders. So the Rune commander went to the Hindenburg, the Hipper to the Rune, and my Nuremberg to the Hipper. So in this battle, this commander is the old Nuremberg commander. He doesn't actually have, is not fully trained on the Hipper as of yet. At the end of the battle he will be, but right now he's not. So you're going to notice that you don't actually get the warnings about being spotted and whatnot, and that's the reason why. I was keeping this in mind, right, and looking at my the radiuses or the radii around my ship, just, you know, to note when I was going to be spotted. I do see an Admiral Hipper off in the distance, so I'm going to try and get some shots off in this Admiral Hipper, hopefully get some nice little hits on the player as well. But you can see, I mean, maybe the player saw my incoming shots, or maybe it was one of my allies, but it turns away from those shots, so I don't actually end up landing any good shots on them. But we're getting over here and we're starting to get into the thick of the enemies now. You can see that we have a lot more enemy aircraft in the air as well, and you do notice that there are a number of enemy ships who are making their way over to the north over here, right? We can kind of see them. There's I think that's the Atlanta that is up there first. The Atlanta was really the first ship, enemy ship, that started pushing up here in the north. I see the Oba over there, but it wasn't really a good angle. We've got the Nagato. The Nagato has a stock hull, so that's important to note, because now I know that, you know, my armor piercing is going to do a whole lot of damage against that Nagato. Now, I was really concerned at this point in time because I wasn't totally paying attention to when I was pushing through this gap, and there are a number of enemy ships over there, and that they, you know, are all firing at me. So I was a little concerned at this point, and I was figuring that, you know, probably I was going to die, and this was probably going to be a terrible idea, but I make it through, easily pushing, or, well, you know, not easily, but attempting to push my way through here, and then the whole plan here is, right, once I clear the island, I'm going to be making a hard turn to starboard to get myself out of this situation. Luckily, the damage that I did take wasn't too severe. It did look like the Hipper over there did get a citadel on me, but luckily I'm able to return the favor and get a nice citadel hit on that player as well. So, all right, we seem to be out of danger for the most part, and I had to kind of, at this point, take a look around, right? Notice that there are only 2 Allied destroyers ahead of me, and I do have an Allied cruiser nearby as well, but I'm not pushing beyond my Allied destroyers because I know that the enemies, they spot me right now, and obviously I'm going to become the center of their focus because they're not going to keep consistent spotting on our destroyers, so obviously they're going to want to shoot me, so I wasn't going to have any of this, so I decided to turn away, and I'm going to head towards the south. But I'm not going to keep going towards the south. Ideally as well, what I'm going to do is just basically do a circle around this rock here, or this island, and come out behind the enemies and get some shots in from that side. That's going to be my plan. Now, I was hoping to get some sneaky shots off of the Atlanta before the island here comes into my way, but that Atlanta wasn't, you can see on the minimap there as well, wasn't actually pushing beyond the island. He's actually stopped at that island, or, moving very slowly, using it as cover. So pretty smart play there by the Atlanta player. That's actually something I see very often now in the Atlantas. Before, when the Atlantas first got into the game, everyone did love them, and there's nothing wrong with the Atlanta. I think it's a great little cruiser. But everyone did love them, but they had a lot of issues with how weak she was and all this crap, and her range wasn't so great, especially after the advanced firing training was changed. But now people have actually, gotten used to it and are starting to play the Atlanta differently, and it's working out for them. Like when an Atlanta is behind an island and is able to shoot over the island, but you can't get shots in on the Atlanta, that is so dangerous. Plus an Atlanta at close range, incredibly dangerous as well, right? So it's good to see that people have been adapting to the changes that are being made in the game. Anyway, we see the Hipper off in the distance. We saw that he took a number of torpedoes. I think it was 2, maybe 3, so the Hipper is almost dead. I'm just going to try and finish off this guy as quick as I possibly can. I really figured that I was going to finish him off with that shot, but no, it wasn't meant to be, so put in some more shots here just to finish him off. Shots go in, and the Hipper is gone. Fantastic. Don't have to worry about this player anymore. Taking a look off to the starboard side, and we do see that there are a number of enemy ships behind the island. We have some enemies. It looks like they're going to be pushing beyond the island, so hopefully I can get myself in a position to take advantage of this. We see the enemy Hipper. This is another enemy Hipper I was duking out with, and this enemy Hipper is also paying attention, to what I'm doing and where I am. So you can see the Hipper did get, I think that was another citadel hit on me as well, so that kind of sucks, but I still have hit points and I'm still going. We need to start angling ourselves against this Hipper, right? I don't have the hit points to go broadside to broadside against this guy. I'm not willing to do it. Well, I guess we're kind of even on the hit points, but still, I wasn't willing to do it. The player has a lot of backup. You can see that there are a lot of enemy ships up here to the north, so we want to play this one a little careful. Make sure that I conserve as much hit points as possible, and you can see the effective angling that I'm doing now as well. With all of these enemy shots coming in, I'm taking little to no damage at this point in time. So we're sailing straight along, and you can see that suddenly I do get the collision alert. So I wasn't paying attention close enough to my minimap, and yeah, collide right into this island. I wasn't too concerned because it looks like these ships were going to continue forward, but that Oba over there does actually stop and start putting shots into me right now. Even though it's an Oba at tier 6, it does still have good, the ship still has good guns on it, right? So, with armor piercing loaded, essentially I've got a nice broadside being given to this Oba here. I mean, this player could start racking up the damage on me pretty quickly, so I got to get myself out of this situation and move away from this. As well, at the same time, I am putting shots into the Oba. Hopefully that's going to deter the Oba. Now, we do see the Admiral Hipper, and unfortunately for this player, he has grounded himself. I took a bit of a hit there from, I believe, maybe it was the Oba, not 100% sure, but you can see now I'm in the red for hit points, but I am going to continue to focus on this Admiral Hipper. It looks like the Hipper was maybe a little confused at first as to the fact that he was grounded, because it almost looked like the player just, kept going forward for a minute into the island. But anyway, I took advantage of that and got some sneaky shots in. We're going to continue to put shots into the Admiral Hipper and try to get the player gone. But I do see the New Orleans as awfully close to me, right? Now, the New Orleans isn't necessarily giving me a broadside at this time, but you do see that the New Orleans is in a turn, and I almost went for it, and I thought, no, I'm going to do one more shot into the Admiral Hipper here, and then I'll turn and I'll start dealing with the New Orleans. So the Admiral Hipper grounds himself once more, so that's, again, bad luck for the player. I decide I'm going to have to actually switch over here to the New Orleans. The New Orleans is doing a bunch of damage here to my friendly destroyers, and I do ideally, want to keep these guys in mind to help them out. I see the Atlanta, and I quickly switch over to the Atlanta, hoping to get some sneaky citadel shots and maybe even finish off that player. That would have been ideal. Doesn't actually happen. The Admiral Hipper goes behind an island, so I don't have any clear shots at this player anymore. You'll notice that overall my team is behind in points, but this is going to quickly change once we get a bit better control over the situation here in the north. Putting shots into the New Orleans now, hoping to do, again, nice citadel hits to this New Orleans, but it's not going to happen. New Orleans player isn't that dumb and is seeking some shelter behind the cover. So the Admiral Hipper is now gone, so I don't have to worry about that player anymore. We do see the Atlanta still over there firing shots off, so I'm going to put some few shots off into the Atlanta. And then, because I am such low hit points at this point in time, I'm not willing to make too much of an aggressive play at this time. I really do want to just sail away, open up the distance, fire off whatever shots I can, obviously, right? But also avoid incoming shots, specifically from the New Orleans. The New Orleans is still fairly close to me, and this player, if the player was just to fire high explosive at me, that would set me on fire and most likely is going to kill me, and it will be the end of me. There we go. I get incredibly lucky with those two citadel hits on the New Orleans and managed to take out the New Orleans, so fantastic. We do still have the Oba off there in the distance, so I'm going to put some shots off at the Oba, and I'm not sure where the Atlanta is, frankly. I lost track of the Atlanta, whether or not that player is still going, not 100% sure, but it does look like we might actually win this. I mean, we're leading the points now, and we have a friendly destroyer and what looks like a friendly cruiser potentially moving up into the enemy base up there, which is fantastic. You need to keep in mind, though, that the enemy does still have two aircraft carriers, and it's possible that my destroyer up there will want to go and hunt down that aircraft carrier rather than cap the base. Yeah, it's not so bad, I guess. We do have the lead in points, so that's important. But, if the base could be capped faster, that's always great as well. We do see the enemy aircraft carriers there off in the distance. Now, this is because my ally destroyer did spot them, so obviously that information is being relayed, so I know where they are now, so that's pretty great. We do see that they are off in the north, and that's basically where I'm going to be heading at this point in time as well. Now, I do have the Nagato in my sights, right? And again, the first hull Nagato there, so I know that the armor isn't going to be as good, but doesn't mean that this Nagato doesn't have to just look at me and I'm dead. So I realized that I was giving the Nagato a bit of an easy shot there, and we can see some shots actually coming in from the Nagato. The Nagato was aware of what I was doing and was trying to take advantage of it. So luckily I did manage to turn and avoid that situation, but now I do still have the Oba to deal with, right? And on these low hit points, I can only angle against one of these ships, and I have to choose which one I'm going to angle against, and it's not necessarily a decision that I was looking forward to having to make. Luckily, one of my allies did actually take out the Oba. The Oba's now gone, so this is fantastic. I don't have to worry about that player anymore. It's just the two enemy aircraft carriers, destroyer and this Nagato. So if we can just finish off this Nagato, we're pretty much going to be safe. We see the enemy destroyer over there, so we know that the player is right there as well. So fantastic, right? We more or less have this. As long as I can manage to stay alive and don't actually screw it up and die, I am going to be pretty happy. The enemy base is almost capped. We have a few last shots going to the Nagato, and the Nagato gets finished off by one of my teammates, so excellent job there. Two enemy aircraft carriers remaining, one destroyer, and battle is over. We have won. My allies did stay in the cap and the enemy base there and cap it out, so fantastic. That was great. But like I said, a little bit of a shorter battle. So not too bad. 238,000 credit, 61,000 damage, 3 citadels, 2 kills, which was pretty great. When I finished playing today, I did finish the 1st July challenge. I like those challenges that they added, right? So at the end of July, we'll all get ourselves the premium tier 2 Japanese battleship. I understand that with this Japanese battleship, the main guns on her are crap. However, The secondary batteries on that Tier 2 Japanese battleship are amazing, apparently, and just so overpowered for the tier. But anyway, looking forward to trying that thing out. Anyway, that is the end of today's video. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember to leave any comments you have for me in the video comment section below. Love reading those and responding back to them. Hit the old like button if you did like today's video. Hit subscribe if you are not a subscriber. And as always, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.